gotta not staying down there. I live in abundance. Yeah. Boundaries. Should I wax or should I shave? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be answering the most TMI.
Hashtag girl talk, hashtag sister talk.
Answering your questions that you guys asked on Instagram. A bunch of you gave me really interesting questions. Some of them which I'm like, let's get into it, girlies. Okay, the first category is like self-confidence and things like that. Do you ever have a doubt in your life?
Girl, every day.
I'd say most of the times I do have a little bit of doubt, especially in the beginning of my TikTok. I'm still growing as a content creator and I'm still like learning about, you know, the process and trying to enjoy the whole process. But definitely there has been times where I'm like, what am I doing? Am I just wasting my time? I try as much to be understanding of the process and the goal, because you know, good things take time and it really does take a lot of perseverance. It takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of hard work. I try to have gratitude, even though, you know, sometimes you're like, well, it's not enough, like this is like nothing, you know. It's an accomplishment for me and I should be proud of that. And you should also be so proud of yourself, because what are you telling me that, oh yeah, it's nothing? Like, no, like be grateful that you did that and that you took that step and you worked towards the goal that you wanted to achieve, even though it might seem really far. But every day you keep stepping up and you keep getting closer towards it. It takes a bit of unlearning to get out of that mindset, because I live in abundance. I have things. I can create opportunities for myself. I can do these things.
When you plant a seed, it's not going to grow into a mahogany tree, you know? You're going to have to wait a few years to let it grow, right?
You guys are like hitting me with like some deep questions. The idea of love for you.
I have no love. I'm an independent woman.
And I know like maybe the things I'm gonna say is gonna be like The older I get, the more I start to understand like self-love. It's very hard to express love for people and to just say like, oh, I love you, or like I care about you, because the love I was always kind of given or grown up with was somewhat conditional. So it was really hard for me to be like, well, what the frack is like love? I think love comes to you in a lot of different forms. It depends on you whether you want to accept that love or not. For the longest time, I build a wall around me a little bit because I was scared that if I am vulnerable, if I do let people in, that they will see how I am, who I am, and that they would see someone who is flawed and they wouldn't be able to accept that. But in reality, when you do find someone who loves you, they understand that you're not a perfect human being and that like you can work together in order to become better day by day. Like nobody comes as a perfect human being. Nobody pops out and is like, I'm perfect. When you love someone, you accept that there are certain differences, that you come up with compromises, and that love doesn't just exist in one form. It's all of it, you know. It's parental love, it's platonic love. Like there's so much love if you just are willing to open up for people to love you and allowing yourself to also love you for being imperfect, just a human being who has as well flaws. Tips that make your life easier after doing it. Number one being podcasts. People who really talk about reflecting and understanding who you are and why you operate the way you operate, knowing and learning what your values are, who you are as a person, why you do the things you do. We can still grow and be kind to ourselves without having to bash ourselves and be like, you're stupid. Just being aware of the fact that you have those things in you is already one step towards unlearning behaviors that you might not like. Like for example, people pleasing. As a child, you always had to do things, had to be excellent, had to be super good to just get, oh, you're doing great. If you do something wrong, you're shamed for it. And so you grow up with this mindset of, I have to be 100% perfect, because if I'm not 100% perfect, then this person won't give me that love. Because at the end of the day, it's just a vicious cycle of you doing something for someone else and living for someone else and not living for yourself, when in reality this is your life. You're supposed to be the one who's happy. The biggest validation you can get is from yourself, and that should be from yourself and yourself only. Putting that aside made my life so much better. After you're aware of those little things, routine. And I know I said this in my last video, you can watch that, about like how to get, I don't know, how to get out of a rut. But I recognize that a routine is not stopping me from doing anything. It's actually allowing me to do the things that I want to do, because I'm someone who gets super overwhelmed. Like if you give me a big chunk of tasks, I'm like, a routine really helps me be like, okay, let's break this down. Made me feel less overwhelmed and allows me to have time for myself after. How to win beauty privilege and self-care. Literally, no matter where you go, beauty privilege and beauty standards will exist. In Asia, beauty standards are pale girl, long hair, clear skin, glass skin, la 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 la. In America, tan skin, body yada. And you might be the most beautiful person to one person, and you might be the ugliest person in another person's eye. But at the end of the day, you cannot control that, and you should not control that. You should not be running after what people think of you. You should not be running after, this person thinks this looks bad, therefore I'm gonna conform to that. The only person you should be conforming to are your rules, what you think. You conform to what you believe is beautiful. You should not conform to what other people think you lack, because you don't lack that, all right? You don't lack anything. But if you want to do something that makes you feel prettier, then you should do it for yourself, not because it conforms to someone else's idea of beauty. Oh my god, okay, I didn't want to make that serious, okay, light-hearted, Christina. Anyways, that was on self-confidence. I have 2 questions on friendship, and that's how to maintain a friendship and how to find good, genuine friendship. Let's tackle the first one. How to maintain a good friendship. I've had a lot of, well, not a lot, of like traumatic friendship breakups, and it was bad, it sucked, but it really taught me a lot about my next friendship and how I want to kind of go about it. I think the one biggest thing in maintaining a good friendship is communication. But guess what? Communication takes being vulnerable. That was something that was really hard for me to deal with, because I'm always the person who's like, if they're not good to me, I'll just cut them off.
Fuck everyone! I don't need anybody.
But you do need people. When you are someone who's so hyper independent and you don't open up to people, you cut people off, even though people really want to give you love, but you cut them off because you're like, frack you, I don't need you. I'm slowly unlearning to open up to people and to trust people more, even though it sucks, because it's like, well, what if they make a mistake? What if they hurt me at the end? It's not going to be worth it. But for me, I view it as, I had a good time with you. I really enjoyed the friendship that I had. I had a lot of good memories, and I learned some of my lessons that I had to learn from this friendship, so that when I move on to my next friendship, I know what I have to do. Being vulnerable, opening up, and talking about things like your boundaries, talking about things like what you don't like and what you like, because the people who do care about you will listen to you, and vice versa. You'll come with a compromise and you'll fix it and move on. How are you both gonna communicate that and move on and grow together? And if you decide to grow, that's great. If you don't, you part ways and you learn your lesson, right? Finding good genuine friendship when you are in like your adulthood is hard. You need to actively put yourself out there to find friendship. Go register to a class. Like, you have to put yourself out there. And what I started doing was, whenever I vibe with like people that I'm like, oh my god, they're kind of on the same wavelength as me, I actively try to pursue them. And if it doesn't work, then I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine, just well, I had a good experience. But if it works, then that's really, really good, right? You might meet a gem the next day. You never know. Boundaries. Boundaries. Know what it is that you stand for. You know what your limit is, and that line should not be crossed. Especially when you already made it known it is how you feel, that should be your line. And if people do cross it and you do tell them the first time, okay, I understand the first time. People make mistakes, people adjust. Second time, we'll try to understand. But if it's more than that, then you really need to ask yourself, like, are they really respecting my boundaries? Do they not care enough to try to understand and try to like know that this is my boundaries and they're my lines? And also knowing who to set your boundaries to, because some people just don't care enough to listen to your boundaries, and those people are the people you need to evaluate whether you want them in your life or not. Girl, you're setting all my boundaries, not one time, not two times, not three times, not four, not like the 100th time, then maybe you need to go. Maybe you need to get out of here. Fella. Communicating. Alright, you need to let people know what your boundaries are, because people can't read your mind. Ooh, now we're getting more into like the
girly girl talk.
The feminine hygiene. The sexy time. Oh my god. Okay, let's start with something low-key. If I have like hard facial hair, what should I do? Should I wax or should I shave? So when you shave your face, the reason why it's not actually thicker, it just feels thicker because you cut it at the base and the base is blunt. Then you just need to wait for it to grow out. Personally, I shave my face because when you shave your face, skincare is absorbed better into your skin and you remove like the dead skin cells on your face. And as well, when you apply makeup, it applies so much better on skin that is shaved. If you don't have sensitive skin, I would say try waxing or threading, especially like on your mustache. Thread it because then you don't have to do it as often, right? But when you shave, you have to do it quite often. Okay, what did you do that you felt gave you the ultimate glow up? Exude the aura. I exude. One thing I feel like has really flipped my life was being a bit more high maintenance. Because I'm taking care of myself, right? Like for example, like hair care, body care. And I have to thank two people for this. My sister, especially my sister, my younger sister. You can learn a lot from your younger sister, by the way. I wasn't in touch with my feminine side and I just thought that it was like a waste of time. Like, when you start to appreciate the body that you are in, the hair you have, your skin, your face, you start appreciating yourself more. What to do to make us more charming? People want to talk to us more. When you have so much love for yourself, you're able to give so much love, and that is very charming to the right people. And you shouldn't, like I said, you shouldn't conform to what people think of you. I don't know, I think just like good vibes, good energy. I also really like it when people like smile. I have to change my camera because my camera died, so I'm on the phone. The next question, all right, continuation from how to not have down there stanky. So your punani, she's one out of can. She can actually smell because of your diet, like what you eat. Like if you eat like onions, garlic, asparagus, your punani can smell different. But another reason your punani can stink is if you don't really have good hygiene. I've been taking good hygiene really serious after I got this UTI a few months ago, and I've had a UTI once, and that was when I got my knee surgery. A nurse looked at my punani for the first time, and I so know it's normal, but for me, I've always been so shy. I've always been like, no. Even though like you just went to the toilet, like you keep on like having like little pee. Anyways, that's kind of a telltale sign of a UTI. This UTI was like no other, girl. Cause tell me why when I went to pee, why was there blood? Why was I peeing literal blood? And the doctor looked at me dead in the eyes. The doctor's like, do you not drink enough water? If you are not drinking enough water, you're Virginia cannot clean herself, okay? Because she's like, girl, it is so dry up here. What am I gonna use to clean myself, all right?
Are we conserving water?
Give me that water so I can clean myself, okay? So I can wash out the bacteria. I can be like, goodbye. Psh, psh, psh. You know what I mean? I heard a lot of people were like, and they were asking about like, do you wipe from front to back or back to front? And someone was like, ew, like, no, I only wipe from back to front. You do not wipe from back to front. Let me be precise. When you're wiping from your booty hole to the front, there is a high chance that you bring your E. coli, the butt bacteria, everything that's coming out from your a-hole to your virgin. And that is not good, because then you can get a bunch of infection and things like that. And the next thing is getting rid of your undies. Get rid of that underwear you wore when you were 12. You don't need it, girl. I threw away my undies. Like, I'm like, frack you, I am not peeing blood ever again in my life. That was the most painful thing ever. And so I became very anal about feminine hygiene and get underwear that are breathable, because when you get underwears like spandex, I know it feels nice and I know it feels cooling and whatever, but it doesn't help your punani breathe. And I bought Muji underwears, and I know Muji underwear is a little bit on the expensive side, because like, girl, I'm paying a 165 baht for underwear. That's 600 baht. If you are a cheap girl like me, that's 600 baht for 6 days. 700 baht. Like, it helps your hunani kushi breathe, and she needs to breathe.
She desperately needs the air.
Underwear is like spandex, underwear is like nylon. They trap bacteria because your hunani cannot breathe. She's suffocated. Lycra fabric, cotton, breathable underwear. You can literally search up and try to get those kind of underwears and not spandex. I know this one is a little bit controversial. Some people, there's like kind of mixed views on this. Your hunani, your punani, your vajayjay, you can go away with just washing with water. I personally prefer to use feminine cleanser. The pH of your punani is 3.8 to it's towards the acidic side. And so if you want to use a feminine cleanser, use one that is in that range and does not have fragrance or has minimal fragrance. Anyway, so that is on hunani. They didn't really specify, but they said sexy time 101. Sexy time should not be a taboo. We don't need to be shy about it, but I am a little bit shy about it. But we grow up, especially us Asian girlies, we grow up in a environment where talking about sex or even saying the word sex is uncomfortable. Some people are like, sex is bad. Like, they just say like, sex is bad, you're gonna get pregnant, blah 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 blah. And so you just end up not wanting to talk about it because it's like this really bad thing. But in reality, it's like, sex is not bad. And also, like, that you shouldn't feel guilty about, you know, having sex. Yeah, it is. Like, am I gonna talk to my parents about it? Probably not, and never, and I won't, because I'm just not there yet. I think sexy time and having sex is just between two people. It's very sensual. It's very connecting. You know what I mean? A literal connection. No. As long as it's enjoyable for both of you, and as long as you're safe, then that's what is really important. And as long as you're having fun. All right, number one, and since we're talking about like safe and everything, number one, condom. A well-fitted condom. I know it's not your responsibility, but I don't know how much the boys knows. You need to wear the right size for your pee-pee, all right? Because if you don't, and that thing slips, or that thing blops out, then it's a bit of a problem for you. Don't have unprotected sexy time unless number one, you want to have a baby and you want to pop a child. Number two, you both get tested. This is so important. I don't care how much you trust another person. I do not care. Get tested, because you cannot trust people. And I know, oh my god, I sound literally like a crazy, like, don't trust people. No, I'm seriously telling you, because not everybody you meet is gonna be as good as you and is gonna be as truthful as you. So get tested even before you have unprotected sex. You don't want to get something from someone who is selfish to, you know, like give a sexually transmitted disease to you. Anyways, on to the next one. Communication and consent. To have enjoyable sexy time, you gotta communicate, right? I don't like how this feels. Ooh, this feels nice. I know it's awkward. I know it's like, ah, what do you mean? What do you mean? Stop, girl. But communication makes it more fun for both of you. When you know what like the other person likes and what you like, then it's like enjoyable for both of you. And when you want to say no and you say stop, it means no and stop. If someone is forcing you to do anything, no.
Get out. Take your things and go out. I don't care. Go without your pants on. I do not give a fuck. I do not care. Get out of here.
Set the mood, have fun with the right people. And oh, last one, since we're on the topic of hunani. Always pee after sexy time. Because that's when you flush out all the bad stuff. You know, like what the lube and the kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like you flush out those things. That was quite a lot. I hope you guys got some insightful information that you could use, or you got inspired by some of the things I say, or you got clarification on sexy time. Anyways, that's all for the video today. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a comment. But anyways, that's all for the video today. I hope you have a good night, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.